You know, ever since I started posting content to the internet around 16 months ago, I found myself confronted with explaining really just how fucking much my industry has changed over the last few years or so. So I keep going back to this example clip here from Walt Disney Studios. They produced a video showing how their cartoons are actually made back in the day, and it's very interesting. Here, for example, you see a room full of dudes making the actual key poses and in-betweens for the actual animated film. And I just love how they also have this little mirror by their side, which they use along with their little white faces to figure out how they were gonna draw the characters. They'd go like, how does an angry dog look like? And then they just use the mirror and make a face and like, just get it right. You know, I think it's so adorable. And then when the drawings are done, the papers get sent over to the female hall room where all the young ladies are. For of course, would this not be the roaring 20s if you did not have gender-separated working spaces? Anyway, the girls are inking up all of the drawings that the animators, the men did, and it's really a lot of work. There's like hundreds of girls just re-inking up the thousands of drawings and then coloring it later on and shit, and I mean, just look at how many fucking people it took just to make an anthropomorphic dog yell at a stupid cow. These animations run on 12 frames a second, meaning in order to maintain an illusion of movement, animation essentially, you had to do 12 drawings for each second in your film. A 5-minute animation costs literally 3,600 drawings. 5 minutes multiplied by 60 seconds multiplied by 12 frames gives you just that number. And remember, each drawing got through multiple redrawing passes. It is crazy, and it is all made by hand. That was how movies were made back in the days. And it was the shit. An entire brand was being birthed from literally nothing. Just some ideas and a vision and so much fucking heart and labor being poured onto the pages and copied and colored over. And from that, you have whole studios and businesses and amusement parks that just emerged from nothing. The Disney Corporation took its place and space in our global economy as if it was destined to happen. Mickey Mouse isn't just a character, he's practically a universal constant. I keep showing that clip in order to exemplify just how far we have gotten as an industry. We don't need armies of people laboring, and just how much more efficient we are at making movies today. Or well, you'd think that making movies would be much simpler today at least, right? This clip beautifully illustrates just how far we've come in the animation industry and how dramatically more efficient everything has become. Yet, despite today's digital advances, where a simple Ctrl+C can replace hours of manual labor, the process of making films remains as labor-intensive as ever. The introduction of technology has simply shifted the landscape, reducing the need for traditional roles, but creating demand for new skills like rigging, programming, and technical art directors, and so on. Movies took just as many man-hours as before, if not even more now. You see, when I was a kid, just a little 12-year-old, you know, and I was mad in love with Pixar. I got the Wall-E special edition with 2 discs for Christmas, you know. I took the second disc and put it in, and I consumed, among other things, a little short film in the second disc. It was a behind the scenes, how they made the Wall-E movie. And I'm gonna stop talking and you can see for yourself.
In a movie like Wall-E, there are about 1,500 shots, and each one of those shots has a lot of people working on it. If one talented artist were able to do all the work and all the shots on Wall-E, it would take them 442 years.
42 years. 442 years to make Wall-E. To make it just Wall-E, 400 years, it's fucking crazy. It's absolutely maddening. And he's using that number, he's saying that in order to like picturify, to simplify, to illustrate just how many people actually worked on Wall-E. So using this famous Jim Morris math on productivity, that'd mean if 200 people actually were at Pixar working at Wall-E, it'd take them 2 years and 3 months around. The thing I'm trying to get to is, with my limited knowledge, I can quite comfortably say that that number, 400 years, that's totally bullshit to quite an extent. I am not sure if you have noticed this, but this movie you're watching right now, this is animation. It's not made by 200 people in sunny California. It's made by one guy in Copenhagen, and it's not sunny over here. It's fucking raining all of the time. I fucking hate it. It rains. Don't come here. Do not come to Copenhagen. You will regret it. And yes, I'm aware that my animation itself is not that crystal clear kind of animation that has been graced by the gods or something. It is still a bit crude, and you know, it slightly ever so kisses that uncanny valley, you know, which is all right, you know. With that said, it's all just made by me. And if you haven't realized it, I still yet to reveal my secret, which is that the reason I can make all of this is because of, well, it's because of motion capture. I right now have a wired up techno suit that sits tightly on my slim body, and I'm performing for you, and you are watching a cartoon from the future I made in my garage with duct tape and shit, and you know, I have like a camera right here on my face. You can't see it, but I have a helmet, and there's a phone right here. I'm looking at the phone right now, and now I'm looking at you again, and I take all of that data from the body and from the head, and I put all of that into my machines, and then I create an environment, and I hit record. And I let the machine simulate all of the light with all of my movements, and at the end of the day, I have a movie, and it did not take that much time to make. I am very much in the business of running a one-man joint at the moment. I do not have any form of training or education whatsoever as an animator or as a CG artist. I attended film school as an animation director, but listen, it is in the name. The school treats you just like a director, meaning they never taught you how to actually open any software and get busy animating. They teach you how to sit in your director chair and yell action, or in Danish we call it værsgo. You learn how to write a nice script and storyboard it afterwards and stuff. Anything technical got side-handled to the other students we were working with. But everything I know and do today, with all of my videos, maybe you've seen some of them, the ones featuring Jimmy Fallon, the simple cartoon characters, James Cameron, Biden, that talking cat, and also those crazy burger people and the angry remote control, the poor dog waiter. All of those characters and everything they do and interact with, it's all something that I'm in charge of. There's nobody else around me on my productions. Sometimes I get help with the audio, either through voice actors or sound designers or composers or compositors, I'm not sure, music people. But everything with the visuals, everything that the camera captures, I'm on my own on that department, totally. And you might ask, sure, you made everything, but was it efficient? How many days, months, years did you burn through making those scenes come to life? And I'll be honest with you, it used to take me days to craft my animations. Take this recent project about adulthood. It's a riot, really. There's a ton of dialogue, scenes where the guy just rambles about how life sucks and shit. Every second of that animated by hand by me. And let me tell you something, I was quick. Sure, the results look a little bit raw, but you need to understand, cranking out 30 seconds of animation every single day for months, that's batshit crazy. Ask any animator if you know anybody. Then you realize 30 seconds, just half a minute, takes about 8 to 10 hours of relentless clicking, dragging, scrubbing. I mean, it's painstaking, it's a grind. And remember, that's me going really, really fast. In the big leagues, like Into the Spider-Verse or DreamWorks or whatever, animators might only churn out a second or so per week. That's because every frame needs to be flawless, perfect. Here in Denmark, the budgets are way tighter. Sure, we crank out our own animated flicks. They might run us up like $4 or $7 million, which is peanuts compared to something like The Incredibles 2 or something. Danish animators might manage to produce 4 to 7 seconds a day, still faster than the big studios, but nowhere near my pace still. And yet, 30 seconds a day felt like moving at a snail's pace. It was like walking dead work. Animating the dialogue scenes in adulthood, pure tedium. The guy's just flapping his gums and waving his arms like it's not the most thrilling stuff to bring to life. Felt like I just had to power through those. But now, like this movie, all of my future movies and the ones I recently uploaded, what you're witnessing here, this is breakneck lightning fast. Thanks to Rococo and a bunch of other things, like that genius text captures my body movements, and I got my suit in September. After half a year of setting up my pipeline and coding solutions, I've crafted a workflow that lets me bang out entire minutes-long movies in like just one day. The day I record this animation is the same day I ship it off for finalization. It's exponentially quicker than my old record of 30 seconds a day, which was already way faster than traditional animation. I think it's crazy. I've ironed out the kinks, and making movies has never been more thrilling or engaging, and that's what I'm here to share with you. Those 442 years to make WALL-E, it is total bullshit. I refuse to believe 400 years, no. Here's a peek into how they tackled a shot at Pixar. Everyone chipping in, breaking down their role, showcasing their wizardry, and you know, guess what? I pulled off that exact same shot using my own methods. Here's how it looks. And here's my take on the WALL-E shot. Okay, so we have Maya open, which is the software we're using to make this shot in, and we are trying to replicate it right now. I'm starting off with the highway, as you can see here. First, I set up the fundamentals of my scene, which is the highway itself. I import and set up my camera to match the focal length of the WALL-E shot, and this step, making the highway match the same perspective, that was the step that was one of the hardest actually to get right. You see, my own highway model was not as wide as the one in the movie, and figuring out exactly how many lanes there should be was a bit difficult. I put on some vehicles to get a better grip on this perspective, and finally I got something I was comfortable with. After I got the perspective in order, I started placing some of the key assets I wanted in the scene, such as the buildings in the background and lampposts and such. Now, I am recreating this shot, but also adding my own flair to it and making it wholly unique, so it is going to deviate a little bit. But it's also like the same shot of a post-apocalyptic highway. The props and assets may be a bit different, but still it's the same kind of thing. But also, I put in a human instead of a cube that rolls around because I felt that would also be a bit more interesting for my example to you guys. Now, one of the key reasons I can do this so fast is because I do not have to manually build all of my pieces by hand. That's how you used to do things in 3D. Like 4 years ago, that was like the only expected way to do anything. Like if you wanted a scene in a living room, you had to build UV and texturize and set up the shaders for all of the assets or props or furniture, whatever you call it, in that living room. It could literally take days to build everything in your scene. But today, it is very easy and cheap to get access to millions of 3D assets from all over the place. Like, you can even scan your own assets with your phone. It is getting so accessible, you would not believe it. And once you don't have to spend a shit ton of time, like building all of your components, it is fast as fuck, yo. I can quickly scatter debris and rocks around on the highway. I can quickly like throw in some extra cars and some dirt, and like I can just help quickly throw things in and help like blend all of the elements together much faster and quicker than what I used to before. Now, my custom asset library and all of the assets inside is for me a gigantic time saver, which I then combine with my other huge time saver, which is my mocap suit, which is like that one over there. Can you see it? As you can see here, I basically used it to record a short animated like piece of action. And how long did that single shot take? Like, it took an afternoon's worth of work. From start to end, literally, that's it, everything. Does it look like the perfect Pixar shot of a highway? No, and my attempt at a post-apocalyptic highway would not hold a candle to any modern Pixar movie in any way. But getting around 70% there, 80% of a quality Pixar shot? That is totally doable in like no time at all. Which I'd like to think maybe isn't that common knowledge actually. Unlike other crafts such as sculpting and painting, being a digital artist is quite literally as if you were an artist who got better without having to do anything along the way. So yes, replicating a shot is possible, but imagine this, there are over 1,500 shots in WALL-E. Some are a breeze, sure, but others, they are a marathon of time and effort. What you're seeing now, this isn't Pixar's method of crafting a post-apocalyptic highway scene. It is my way. Does it matter to the audiences whether it's done my way or the Pixar way? I don't know, but is the visual difference worth the colossal amount of extra time and energy? What's your take? Pixar's debut film hit the screens around the time I was just a newborn, circa 1996. It was a marvel of its time, you know, Toy Story. A showcase of groundbreaking tech and expertise. But fast forward to today, and parts of it, like Andy the Human, might strike you as downright creepy. And all of the guests at his birthday, just Andy in different outfits. It's pretty basic stuff by today's standard. And you can then draw a comparison of what Pixar did back in the day and what they are doing now. They have grown so much. But I think the much more interesting comparison lies in the technology has improved so much so in fact, that you do not need $1 million business investment in order to make your Hollywood stories. This whole field, which has been gatekept by money people and the established facilities and technology, how are they going to adapt when me and two of my friends are going to remake Avatar? Yeah, sure, our water effects would be a little bit more ugly than James Cameron's, but people wouldn't notice that because in our version of the movie, all of the Na'vi aliens have huge, gigantic blue penises that just get in the way whenever you're trying to have a conversation or something. Like, you know, the reality is stark. The effort and time needed to craft compelling narratives in film have plummeted. Technology is surging forward, the CG market is expanding, and every day more and more enthusiasts are diving in. There's a burgeoning market for hobbyists who want tools that make the creative process faster or better. There's money to be made here to make films even faster. You saw how I redid that WALL-E shot, right? All the tweaks and tricks I used. Now let's be honest, if I had to crank out WALL-E by myself, I'd estimate it'd take me about maybe 4 years of non-stop grinding. Considering WALL-E is 16 years old, that's a testament to just how much productivity in animation has skyrocketed. From a lone artist needing 442 years down to just 4. I mean, I am not going to throw away 4 years of my life to prove a point. I already did that when I attended the film school. I hope my recreation of that single shot, which again took over a dozen fucking people to make across many weeks and months, yeah, I mean, I did that in a short afternoon, and I'd wager many more shots would take just as much time, if not less. Besides, it was an easy shot to recreate. There wasn't any crazy simulations or a lot of background characters that needed work. I do know how to make a lot of background characters, like in this shot with the panicking cakeman or the cheering crowd of these office workers. Or maybe here, when the ship is flailing and all the fatties are sliding off, that'd be hard to recreate. But again, I kind of have done something similar with my own graduation film, where the entire office starts sliding heavily to one side and everything is crazy. And you might be thinking, 100-fold increase. This guy, what is he talking about? And then I'd like to remind you that I haven't even begun to talk about how AI affects my work and how it has sped up my workflows, and how I expect more developments in that area to help my work even more in the future as well. Like, I was so afraid to actually bring up AI because there is just so much fucking stuff about AI everywhere. And there's just so much to this topic besides just AI I wanted to come out with first. The mocap, the faster workflows. Like, I am going to go in a deep dive of just AI in a separate film at a different time. Like, it deserves its own topic. I just want to leave you with this, like the kicker of it all. I crank out movies with minimal fuss, they look sharp, and yeah, sometimes they blow up, sometimes they flop. But every single time, I'm learning, adapting, and posting more than ever. That's the real revolution here. The energy, the time, the cost per movie slashed drastically. The quality, it's only getting better. And that brings us to the big reveal of this whole spiel. The movie industry, they treat every film like it's a damn moonshot, like a fucking rocket launch that cannot go wrong. Before you even get started on the production of a movie, you need to wade through a whole lot of shit. First, you need the right idea for your film. Then you need that idea to get approved. And approval of your idea It's a circus. Consultants test audiences, endless feedback loops before you even get a green light, and in the thick of pre-production, when nothing's set in stone, that's when the madness peaks. All these decisions based on guesswork. It's bonkers. Nobody knows how a movie will act or perform until it's out there. There are too many unknown variables. Maybe the script reads like shit on paper, but when you add music and editing and acting and lighting, it doesn't matter how it fucking reads. All it matters is how it feels when you see it. In my humble corner of the industry, I'm not launching rockets. I'm just making movies. If one flop, it's not a multi-million-dollar faceplant. So why the paranoia? Why stick to the same old sequels and prequels and stuff you can predict when you can afford to gamble a bit? That's where the magic happens, in my opinion. When you can fire off these projects on a shoestring budget, you're not just playing it safe, you're like rewriting the playbook. What happens when the cost of launching a cinematic rocket plummets from centuries of work to just months or even weeks or days worth of work? That's the question we should be asking, I feel, because folks, when you strip away the fear and the ridiculous costs, what you're left with is raw, unbridled creativity from artist to audience. And that's where we are heading really fast. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I know I'm not going to worry about what I'll be doing. I'll just be doing it, and then after it's done later, I'll grab all the data and reactions and people thoughts, and then I'll learn whether it worked or not, and I'll be a better man the day after tomorrow. Thank you for your time. I have a lot more to talk about, but I'm gonna do that later. Like I really sped through a lot of shit in my method and stuff. We are done with the movie now. This is the ending of the movie. Like there's so much things that I skipped. And go right in the comments. Oh, you forgot about blah blah blah. And be my guest. Please discuss. I want to talk what you think about this as well. I plan to make more of these, but I mean I've said that many times before. I don't know. Like my whole SoMe and YouTube and TikToks, like I just like posting stuff I feel like posting, and I want to commit to this. I'm testing out if like talking and standing and walking for 10 minutes at a time is also a doable strategy. Let me know in the comment what you think. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Have a nice day. Get the fuck out. I don't care. Yeah, see you later.